Yo, what's the deal? What's the deal? Welcome to STOUGH. I am your host, Cass Hatchet. This is a spot where we explore the universe, ourselves, and have the conversations that dive into the topics that make you wonder, what if? What if? What the fuck if? You know? This is our corner of the universe for investigating the stuff. What's the stuff, you ask? That's the supernatural, thought, oddities, UFOs, grand conspiracies, and history. I am your host, so I will be your guide on this journey. By the way, this space is 420 friendly, so feel free to light up before we lift off. Indeed. Disclaimer. This show is made to spark curiosity, to get perspective, and to open your minds. Please do your own research on these topics to gain more personal knowledge before you draw your own conclusion. Indeed, make your own rabbit hole before you dive down it, buddy. And if you're going down rabbit holes you don't know about, you better watch them hoes. Hold up. The hoes. I just thought that was funny that I said hoes. Okay. This episode is sponsored by Cass Company, aka Cool as Shit Clothing. Peep the drip. This is they bust down Sasquatch. Do you see the bust down strings on things? Bust down strings on the things. Yeah. Cass Company, aka Cool as Shit Clothing. Make sure you follow them. I'll put the info up here somewhere. Tap in. Alright? Stuff. Our second sponsor number 2. Juice Socks, boy. Go get socked on. They got all the socks. What you want? Superheroes, Dragon Ball Zeros, creepy creatures, Beetlejuice, Batman, Spider-Man. They got all the mans, man. Tap in, Juice Socks. Go get socked on, bro. Alright. Let me give y'all a setting. Let's get into it. Alright. So, travel with me. 12th century England. Suffolk, England. In a village called WOOLPIT. Let me tell you a little bit about WOOLPIT. WOOLPIT is named after the wolf pits in the village. This area of England had a lot of wolves. They would dig pits called wolf pits to catch the wolves. Alright? Basic wolf pit. Alright? So, you know, the people of the village, the villagers, was out one day checking the wolf pits. You know, doing their village thing. Patrolling the turf. When they heard a little noise in the bush. They looked, the bush was moving around on some real Scooby-Doo shit. And 2 green kids popped out the bush. Green. Yes, green kids. Their skin had a green tint to them. Alright. Now to make it even more weird, the kids didn't speak any language that they knew. Unfamiliar color, unfamiliar language. And they were pretty much startled at everything. They were looking around like they were looking at a place they'd never seen before. Like they were in a whole new world. That's when we're supposed to cue the a whole new world. Put that in there, production. Alright. So the people, the villagers who find the kids, they take the kids to Sir Richard, who was a knight in the area. You know, back then, whoever was the most tapped in with the king, that's who kind of had the seniority, you feel me, on anything that needed some extra eyes or hands on it. So they took the kids to Sir Richard. So Sir Richard was looking at the kids and he's like, he realized they look hungry. They look wore out, bro. Like they look whooped, just beat. So Sir Richard's like, we gotta feed them. So he tried to feed the kids. Kids wouldn't eat. Next day came, they looking more sick. They started to look sick. Wouldn't eat. You feel me? So one day, they brought in some more food. The kids happened to spot somebody with some raw beans. I think they was about to cook, or they just got done farming or whatever. So the kids spot the raw green beans, and they go crazy, bro. They start eating the beans. So, they realize the kids, they eat green beans. That's the only thing they recognize. That's the only thing that was familiar to them. Right? So Sir Richard pretty much took them in and made them part of the house, The kids, the girl, grew older in the house. Unfortunately, the boy passed. He was so malnourished that he just never made it through the sickness. Now, the girl, she started to learn their language. She became part of the village. She started to eat different foods and eventually lost the green hue to her skin. She started to look like, any other girl in WOOLPIT. As she got older, she got married, went off to somebody at, another near village, went off with somebody at another near village, and, eventually told her story once she knew the language. And she says that her and her brother were out tending to her father's cattle or sheep or whatever, and they heard bells across the river. Right? Now they followed the bells into a cave, I believe. And once they got deeper into the cave, they said it felt like the ground was falling beneath them. Next thing you know, they saw a light. They walked into the light. They came out into WOOLPIT. She says they came from an entirely different world where the sky was green, everything was green. She said they didn't quite have a full sun, like the sky had a green tint to it. And across the river supposedly was a world where the sun shined. She said they'd never been there before. So this is what she recalled. Like by now she's older. She's telling this story. This is her interpretation of what happened to her and her brother. They came from another world. This is with her own mouth. Now, this story was written about by historians. It wasn't just a story told by mouth by the locals. It's actually ended up in some actual books written by real historians as real documents, like it actually happened. One of the accounts recall that the girl claimed she came from a place called St. Martin's Land, and that the river was a river of light. That's crazy. Okay, so we got 2 kids, green skin, only ate green beans. The boy died, girl grew old, and she told the story of this is where they came from. So what happened? what's the deal? What's the stuff? Here's some theories. Okay, so theory one. There was a nearby town that they say supposedly the kids just came from. They were orphans, they were dropped off. They came from a town, a Flemish town, where they just spoke a different language. People didn't know the language. Now, with that being said, I would think that a guy who is at night would know about a different language and would know about local village. That doesn't explain the green skin at all, to me. Now, I believe the green skin could have something to do with their diet. They only ate green beans, you know? Some people say it could be a condition called hyperchromic anemia, once known as the green sickness, because it caused a pale greenish blue skin to happen. All right, but if that's something that was known about at the time, they would write about these kids as kids that had the green sickness, not like it was something different, right? Here's another theory. Some people say these kids came from a hollow earth, that they traveled down the cave and they ended up popping out into the surface world, and that their world may have had an inner sun or some kind of partial light from our sun, which is why they didn't recognize, the way light worked when they got out here. Could be the case. Theory 3, which is not always, but for me, it seems a bit more believable. It seems a lot less believable to some people, but these could be aliens. This story could have extraterrestrial origin. Simple as that. Green skin, strange memory of a whole nother world, glowing type shit. Like, UFO could have dropped their ass off. Could have been just that. UFO drop your ass off. You get stuck in another world. You don't speak the language. What would we do if we was dropped off on another planet and we look different? We would tell a story like, yeah, we came from Earth. Our planet looked like this. We had these kind of animals. And they would be looking at us like, this is crazy. You making this shit up. Who knows? Or the good old, there's another theory. The good old bad kid story. Story to tell the kids with some kind of punishment at the end. If you act up, I'm gonna drop you off in the village and you're gonna turn green. And you're gonna forget how to speak English. And then you're gonna get picked up by another village and they're gonna make you work in the castle. You feel me? We never know. I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know. Thanks for tuning into Stuff. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. And if you have your own theories about the green children of WOOLPIT, hit us up on social media. I want to hear your thoughts. And if you want to keep the mystery alive, make sure you share this episode with a friend. Remember, the more we question, the closer we get to the truth. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical. This is Stuff.